can my 4-iron cover that water? I don't know. Can I skip it onto the green? No. A driver versus iron. So let's start with reason number one you would use an iron over a driver is going to be the hole. Length of hole, difficulty of hole, risk reward, all of that is kind of the same animal that you have to deal with. Here, short hole, number 15, White Columns Country Club, Club Corp course, nationwide memberships, courses all over the place. Check it out, link in the video description below. You just gotta say, hey, what am I gonna put in the fairway every single time, no matter what? 4-iron for me. Now, when it comes to swings, that's a whole different thing, and you have to know the difference. Otherwise, you're gonna hit an iron swing with your driver and you're doomed. All right, let's first talk about the driver swing. What we want to make sure we do is obviously we have to set up properly. Otherwise, we're going to be in big trouble. So what I like to do is feet together with ball position right in the middle of my stance, okay? And then I just take a tiny step with my front foot and a big step with my back foot. And usually this gets us in a pretty standard driver setup position. I like the ball off my left ear, okay? One thing that I always want to do when getting the driver is grip left hand first, and then I like to come under, receive the club with my right hand in the fingertips here, and that's going to be my setup on the face-on view. Coming down from here, if I do the same thing, feet together, little, big, and I'm here, I'm getting a little right lateral bend, what they call it, a little right tilt, and I'm right here, and club is going to be about so far from me, fist and a half. I don't like to reach. This causes you to do all kinds of silly things. So I just like to be right in here. And then as far as bending over, that's a personal preference. You know, Keegan Bradley's way down here. Other people are more stood up with their butt under them. I like to be pretty comfortable, athletic position, coming in here. And then from here, it's kind of your personal preference. This would be my driver setup. That is different than an iron setup. Now this can be my iron setup. I'm gonna do the exact same thing, feet together, left hand. This time, instead of such a little step, I'm still doing little, but I'm not doing such a big one here. I'm right here, okay? So that ball, instead of my left ear, it's like my left eye. That's about where I want my iron, my longer iron right there. I'm still got a little bit of right lateral bend, but because the ball is back a little bit, my lateral bend is less, because in order to get here to that front ball, I would just bend more. So that's really the major difference between driver swing and iron swing for me, is how much lateral bend I have over to the right side. Everything I like in the center, and then there's a little bit of lateral bend here with the 4-iron, a lot more with the driver. And the only difference is I would be farther from the ball with a driver. My hands wouldn't be farther from me. That's the two setup major differences. Okay, here's something that is, in my opinion, super important, but not a lot of people talk about this. I don't know why. All right, and it has to do with your backswing. And I'm not talking about length of backswing, because again, that's individual, person to person. Here's what I'm talking about. It's going to be how you take the club back. Watch. Okay, ideally you want to take it back fairly straight. Let's say I'm aiming there, right? Okay, so you don't want to whip it inside. Okay, we know that. And you don't want to take it back outside, and you don't want to flip your hands, either with a driver or an iron. But when I take my 4-iron back, I kind of want to be as straight as possible here. Okay, so that would be my 4-iron backswing feel, is really try to keep the club head there, as I would with my driver. Here's the challenge. Do the same thing with the driver. Here's what they're not talking about. I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm farther from the ball. So the feel is that I'm going like this because it's the same exact thing. But if I kind of do the same feel, I'm gonna be way inside here, and I'm gonna have to do this and flip my hands to sync everything up, time it up, and hit a good shot, which will be 1 out of 20, and the rest will find the bushes. So I have to feel, this is the feeling, like I'm pushing, I gotta feel like I'm a little more out here. Now I'm not, if you roll your hands, nothing will help you in all of golf, okay? So I'm just pushing my hands, I'm just feeling like I'm keeping that club out a lot longer, a lot straighter with my arms. That's the feeling, that's the different feel. It's going to be more pronounced with the longer club. So when you go from iron to driver, it's gonna feel like here, it's gonna feel like that. You got that? So just feel a little more stretched out, like you're taking it back a little more on the outside with the driver swing. And you should be a lot more consistent once you get used to that feeling. Another thing to really consider and to be careful of is this: when you're making the different swing between driver and iron, is a lot of times you're gonna have a desire to hit down on the ball. And I don't care what people say, never hit down on the ball. And the reason why is this: here's my iron setup, here's my driver setup. What was the main difference in terms of setup was our spine angle here. Look, if I take this back, my hands are coming down. The hands are coming down, hands traveling downward. If I'm trying to hit down on this and have a ton of shaft lean, I'm gonna get too steep on the ball here. And I got a long iron here. I never wanna try to hit down on the ball. My hands are going more down the farther back they are. So the farther back the ball is in my stance, the more down the club's gonna be going when it makes contact with the ball. When I'm a little more forward and I have a little bit more spine tilt, my hands, they're still going down, but then it shallows out and my hands start coming up. So up here you're hitting slightly up on the ball only because the hands are coming up. Back here, the hands are down here. If I put it back in my stance, yeah, I'm gonna hit down in this low little stinger shot. But it's a 4-iron, so it's right here. It's gonna be relatively level here. So never try to hit down with the irons. That's a huge myth, because that'll only get you in trouble. Whatever you do in the history of life of golf, don't let people fool you into believing that there is a massive difference between your driver swing and your iron swing. They're relatively the same. It's just you're gonna have a slightly different setup from iron to driver. And then the feel will just be subtle feel, and you'll get used to that. But if you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna put my iron swing on this, or I gotta put my driver swing on that, it's gonna cause a lot more problems than it's worth. In reality, just a slightly different setup, slightly different ball position. The rest will take care of itself. There you go. That's your difference between driver swing and iron swings, or driver shots and iron shots. If you want more videos on which club you should choose, this or that, click right over here. Thanks for watching. Love you guys. See you in the next video.